Well, hello there, beautiful people. Come on in. Come on in. I know it's some folks waiting to get on here. Y'all want to see what I got to say, what I'm talking about. You want the tea. I don't like this light over here. It's messing with me. Try to turn it somewhere different. Come on in. Come on in. I am kicking off this week. It's Build Big with the Boss Architect. It's the big business edition. And what I wanted to do this week was to not just focus on the business stuff. I think there's enough business information going around. Lord knows I will give you guys some business information throughout the week. Um, I want to talk about, some things that like people don't normally cover. Um, some of the things that just don't get talked about that I think are so important when you're building a business. I wanted to bring you behind the scenes of the personal side of this, right? And I think that's important for you to understand what goes on behind the scenes of some of the people that you follow, some of the influencers you follow, because what I see happening in the marketplace. It's over what I see happening in the marketplace is that a lot of times we fall into the trap of comparison. Hold on, y'all. I get my camera right. She not acting right today. Hey Tay, we fall into the trap of comparison because we see people doing things online. We see people like, hey, having these successes and doing all of these things, and then we're like, what's wrong with us? Right? What's wrong with us? And I think like people sometimes will tell you, oh, I worked hard to get to where I was. I worked hard. But they don't really tell you like what that hard work really means, right? They don't tell you what the hard work means. So I want to tell you a story. Hey, Erica, come on in, y'all. When you're here, give me a hashtag live so I know you're live. I want you to understand what hard work means when people say it. Because that's one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Hey, Crystal, when people are like, well, I worked hard to get to where I was. Well, what does that mean? How many people have heard that before? How many people have heard that? And you're like, well, what does that mean? What does that mean you work hard to get here? And I don't think a lot of times people talk about like the sacrifices. They don't talk about like what that actually looked like in real life. So I want to tell you guys a little something about me that some people that actually know me in real life know this about me, but this is a cautionary tale, right? It's a cautionary tale because I don't want you to necessarily like do this. But I want to tell you some of the things that have helped me in my journey and some things that became toxic traits. Can I be honest with y'all tonight? Somebody put honest in the comments if you want the real, the raw, unfiltered tonight. I've never really talked through this with anyone, but I just felt it's time to share. Some people will no longer be in my audience, all right, after this week. So while you still yet here, I want to give you the real and raw. Okay. Okay, I see you guys. Y'all said be honest. Be honest. Okay, I got you covered. So I'm gonna tell a story. Story time. Y'all know I love a good story. Story time with Kendra. Okay. Um, I've thought about how to start this. And I'm gonna start by saying this. Where my overachievers at? Where y'all at? Overachievers. If you don't know what I mean by overachievers, you have always been good at stuff. You on the principal's list in school, you got good grades. You then went on, you got probably about 35,000 college degrees, right? You did good in corporate America. Your parents used to look at you crazy if you got a B. They used to look at you crazy if you got a B, right? Um, right? Somebody say yes, ma'am. Yeah, overachiever here too. Um, one of the things, yep, D 35,000 degrees. One of the things that I've seen in this marketplace as I've been counseling and advising entrepreneurs for 6 years now, over 6 years. Um, your overachiever gene is your biggest hindrance in entrepreneurship. And it was also mine. I'm telling you this so that the story makes sense to you. So I'm gonna say story time here. I am still an overachiever, but was an overachiever. I was on principal's list my entire school career. Things came really easy to me in school. Where are my other people that didn't have to study? I have a photographic memory. So one of my secrets to my superpower. If I see something, I remember it. So I didn't study growing up, right? Because in school, right, what do? You don't really have to get an understanding of things. You have to be able to recall information. So I'm really good at recalling information because of my photographic memory, right? So I never had to study. Things just came to me really easy, right? And so I always got eights. It was as simple as that, right? And when I got into even all through college, the most undergraduate your undergraduate degree is all about, recalling information. You don't really have to get understanding of anything, right? And so my undergraduate degree, same thing. I graduated magna cum laude, right? And I would never forget my first grad school degree. So I have 3 degrees. I have one bachelor's degree and I have 2 master's degrees. Um, my MBA is from the Georgia Institute of Technology, Yellow Jackets in the house, right? And I remember my first test that I ever took in grad school. The first test I ever took, I failed it. Come on, somebody. Now, I had never failed nothing in my life. The devil is a liar. I had never failed anything in my life. You know why I failed? Because I thought I could do the same thing I did all throughout school and in college. I thought I could just recall information, right? Now, I was elevating to another level in my MBA. This was an executive MBA program too. So it wasn't a regular MBA, it was an executive MBA. I was in with the creme de la creme. If some of my Georgia Tech folks on here, y'all understand, we were like some smart cookies, right? Some smart, successful cookies. And I got in there thinking I could do the same things that I did at my previous levels. Do you know what that caused me to do? It activated something within me because I was not used to failing. I said, this can never happen again. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Because I'm not used to failing, I said, this will never happen again. Now, how many people have said that too? You made up in your mind that something is going to be. So here's what happened. A lot of times when people say something will never happen again, they they make sure that it never happens again by never trying again. So I'm going to step on some toes. There's some people out here, you've been struggling with your business and you just like, well, I'm going to give up because it's too hard. It didn't work. Some of y'all launched the offer. You tried to do a launch. It didn't work the first time. You like, well, this never happening again because I ain't never doing it again. Right. Well, there's something different that kicked in with me. And I don't know whether this is just hard coded in my DNA, whether it's because I'm a Capricorn, Cap stand up, right? Whether it's because it's just who I am. Instead of me saying, I'm not going to let this happen again and I'm going to give up, I said, I'm not going to let this happen again. I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to outwork everybody. Right now, here's the thing. I got to go back a little further in the story. I had already been building my endurance for the amount of work that I could do. Y'all got real quiet, so y'all must be on the give up side. I was already building my endurance for how much work I could put on myself. And I'm not going to tell the whole story because it will take forever. But let me just say this. I graduated from high school as salutatorian. I was really supposed to be valedictorian, but there's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I had a 4.5 GPA when I graduated high school. I was taking college classes, highest GPA, but I had to be salutatorian instead. You know why I had to be salutatorian? Because I was 5 months pregnant when I graduated from high school. I have been a mother my entire adult life. Okay. I started college 6 days after I graduated from high school. No joke. 6 days after I graduated from high school, I started college and I took the fall semester off to have my daughter because I was adamant that I was going to graduate from college with the other folks that I graduated with. Now, I'm telling you this because I had to build my endurance for work early because I was so hell bent on proving everybody wrong about my college career and about me not being making nothing with myself. I went to college while I worked full time. So I shortly after graduating high school, I got a job at SunTrust Bank, right? I worked at the bank. I would go to my classes in the morning, I would go to the bank in the evening, and that's what I did, right? So I built endurance early on to just work a lot. Right, right. Tay said earth signs just keep on doing more. We just gonna keep doing more. Failure is not an option. And so I say all this to say when I'm later on in my life, and I got my MBA in my 20s, so I wasn't that old, but I graduated from my MBA when I was 27, I want to say. Um, all I knew how to do to get what I want was to work. How many people are like that right now? All you know how to do to get what you want is to work, right? And I realize now, like looking back, that everything that I ever wanted up to that point in my life, I got because I worked so hard for it. Right. So I went all my high school career, all my I didn't really have to work hard. And then I had to start working hard. And then it became a mechanism of survival for me. It became a mechanism of control for me because everything that I wanted, I could get if I worked for it. Let me give you some examples. When I was 23 years old, I was working at the bank. I was working at the bank. I was a young vice president at the bank. I was a business banker. Y'all know what business bankers or VPs, assistant AVP at a bank. So I was assistant vice president at a bank. I was 23 years old. And I was in a role where I got paid based on how many loans I closed. And so I was like, well, hell, if I get paid based on how many loans I close, I'm about to be out here in these streets finding people and close loans. So I was at business networking events. I was at all of these events. Everything that I wanted, I worked for it. And that gave me a good base salary and a good commission. But at that time, I wanted to buy a home and I still didn't have enough money for a down payment for my first home. So, y'all know what happened? An opportunity came up. Now, mind you, I'm still in school, still working full time. I had been giving businesses that I was closing loans for because I was a business banker. People would come in, open their bank accounts with me, get their loans from me, ask me all types of business advice. I was giving tons of business advice. I was setting up people's LLCs. I was structuring out their business for them way back then. This was in 2007. Y'all know, I went to one of these networking events one day, and one of my clients, she was like, I have a stall at the Sweet Auburn Curb Market. I sell, goat milk soaps and goat milk body washes and stuff like that. I want you to come by and check it out because I need your help. I'm thinking this lady wants me to, open up a business account for her or, to do some, I don't know, set up her LLC stuff like I used to do for people for free. This lady was like, when I came into that bank, she said, you explain more about business to me than my accountant, than my people that I had hired to set up my business. She was like, I'm trying to launch another business and I want you to help me set my business up. I was like, you want me to do that at the bank? She was like, no, I want to pay you to do it. That was the day I became an entrepreneur. 23 years old. I went home that night. I'll never forget this. I sat on the side of my bathtub. For the people that's in Atlanta, I had an apartment at Wesley Stonecrest. It was bougie back then, child. They had me a little part. You couldn't tell me nothing. I sat on the edge of my bathtub and I wrote out my business plan. And I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna be setting up people's businesses now. Right. And I created a business called a Notch Consulting Group Incorporated. And I worked in that business. I'm gonna fast forward the story a little bit. I started taking clients. I was doing business plans. I was doing LLCs and corporation setups. I was even doing bookkeeping because I became a QuickBooks certified pro advisor. Like I was literally doing some of everything, right? While I was working a full time job, while I was going to school, while I had a kid, all I knew was work. And you know what happened? That little side hustle that I had, my first entrepreneurial venture, that first entrepreneurial venture bought me my first house. I closed on my first house when I was 24 years old. Single, kid, working full time, going to school full time, right? Little entrepreneurial venture. And everything else that I ever wanted when it was up for a promotion time at work, they would be like, who wants to take on this extra project? Who wants to do the new I would be like, me, I'll do it. Because I want you to understand the subconscious programming that was happening to me. I had learned because I was getting rewarded for how much I worked. I had learned that that was the way that I get everything that I want, by working harder than anybody else. Even when I first started the Boss Architect, I was like, there ain't nobody on this internet that's going to outwork me. Working was what I could control. Y'all got real quiet on this story. How many people have been working so much? And you may have been working and not getting the rewards like I was, but how many people are working entirely too much? I had programmed myself subconsciously to say, if I work harder, I will get a reward. If I work harder, I will get a reward. If I work, oh baby, and that was cute when people were patting me on the back for working hard. Oh girl, you got this. Keep going, girl. You so strong. Oh girl, you got this. Because here's what happens. Here's what happens. And now I'm going to preach a little bit. Some of us, when you work hard for everything, you attract people in your circle that want to keep you working hard. Ooh, 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 I'm going to preach about it now. You attract people in your circle who want to keep you working. I can't tell you how many people I've already had the weight of the world on my back. I was a mother, a single mother. I was working a full time job. I was going to school full time and I was running a business. I had no time in my life, and everybody around me wanted to add some more on my plate. Oh, girl, you so smart. You can handle this, girl. You got it. You can say, girl, I just need to ask you to help me with something. Oh, girl, see if you do this. Oh, you like, I know you'll be able to help me. Now I'm preaching to somebody right now. But here's what I'm gonna say about myself. At least I had sense enough to work for myself first. Now I ain't saying some of y'all ain't got no sense, but some of y'all let everybody pile their mess onto y'all and you don't never do nothing for yourself. At least I had sense enough to do something for myself first. right? But I was realizing, and this is a hard realization, when you set yourself up to be the workhorse, when you set yourself up to be the workhorse, baby, you gonna invite some jockeys to go ahead and hop on your back. You gonna invite somebody to hitch their wagon up to your brow. Right? And at the end of the day, the hardest thing to realize is that sometimes you are the cause for why you're the workhorse. Now let's talk about this because I need to take y'all forward in life. Take you forward in life. Work because yeah, you invite them jockeys to hop on your back. You inviting for the mule. You a work mule. You taking the whole caravan up the mountain with all of the lumber. And I had to realize that because of my work ethic. And I will say this, my work ethic is still ridiculous. The Lord is still working on me. It's ridiculous. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. I still say nobody will outwork me, right? But now I've learned I have to work on the right things for the right reason. Let me keep telling this story. What ended up happening for me is that what I could produce for people, what I could do for people became synonymous with my self worth. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. What I could do for people became synonymous with my self worth. So I found myself in friendships, always doing the most, always fixing stuff because I felt that I wasn't valuable unless I was working. I found myself in relationships, always attracting men who needed help. Baby, I couldn't, I ain't, if he wasn't a project for me, I ain't want it. Thank the Lord I found my husband. Now he did need help, but he a different type of help. My husband didn't. Y'all know, let me leave dark Ken alone. Right. Uh, it was different, right? But like it was something that I realized I was attracting into my life because it had become my mechanism of control, but it also had become tied into my self worth. The value that I saw in myself was the value of what I could produce for other people. And that was a dangerous, dangerous road to go down. Now, let me talk about how this applies to the boss architect. I built the boss architect. I started the boss architect in 2018. Hey, Tammy from Seattle. When I gotta cut my heater off because not oh I'm y'all know I got old lady feet. I be wanting a heater on my feet even though it's 90 something degrees in Georgia. I be wanting a heater on my feet. Y'all leave my old lady feet alone. Okay. Uh, so this is gonna irk me. I feel like my lipstick ain't right. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix my lipstick. Okay, there we go. So Right. It left me questioning and second guessing myself. When I started the Boss Architect, I went in with the same work mentality. Now, let me tell you where I was in my life at this point. When I started the Boss Architect, I had just become an executive. I always tell people the Boss Architect was started in my Jesus year. Okay, I started Boss Architect when I was 33 years old. Jesus. All right, 33. And the Boss Architect was born when I was an executive at Target. Shout out to my Target folks. And I don't know if you guys, if I've ever like really broken down what I was doing. Some of you have seen it because y'all saw the video of my work wives from Target actually coming in and telling y'all what I was doing. But when I started the Boss Architect, as a strategy executive at Target, what we were working on were Target's biggest strategic priorities, meaning the big strategies that came to life in Target were the responsibility of our group to execute. Now, I'm going to explain how this works. We were not project managers, we were not the strategy. We would literally take the strategy that the strategy team would develop, because the strategy team kind of lives in only strategy world. And then there's the people in the business, so the people that's doing the day-to-day job. We would literally take the strategies and say, well, that's not realistic. That don't make no damn sense. This is how it's going to be. This is what it actually should be. This is the work streams that we're going to activate to do it. And oh, by the way, we're going to actually break this down into tangible actions, and we're going to liaison with the business units, the senior vice presidents, to make sure that it happens. We're going to make sure that we have the systems, the technology, the operations, the infrastructure in order to bring these strategies to life. And every single month we had to report out to the CEO and his team. So I wasn't just clicking and clanking. I was running some of the largest projects in a multi-billion-dollar company. And the first project that I worked on at Target was launching 12 brands in less than 2 years, which had never been done before. There is a piece of technology that I developed that is still being utilized at Target to this day. This was the hardest time in my corporate career, and I had just been made an executive. So I need to give y'all context about how much I was working. I was working 60-hour weeks at work, and I started a business. I started a business. And it was in this time where some people already know hashtag 2 a.m. Kendra was born. So I would leave work, and I literally, at that time, we had a townhouse in Minneapolis, right outside of Minneapolis, in a suburb of Minneapolis called Maple Grove. Where my Minneapolis folks, Miss Tasha, if you're looking at this, I love you. Y'all, Miss Tasha is one of my clients, but she also was my cleaning lady when we lived in Minneapolis. So she knows exactly what townhouse I'm talking about, right? But I literally began this vicious cycle of overworking again. So I would be clocking 60 hours a week at Target in these high level meetings and all of this stuff, like making sure that this technology was being built, making sure that the brands were launched. I was traveling like crazy, right? Traveling like crazy, going around, like hopping on the, we always call it jet trips, hopping on the private jet, going from store to store. Like it was crazy, my schedule. And literally, it became a toxic thing. While I was building my business, I would literally come home from work. I would get home from work probably around 5 o'clock at night. Maybe I would cook some dinner and make sure London went out and play. But I would get on my computer from 5 o'clock and I would stay on until like 6 o'clock the next morning. I would shower and I would go back to Target. No joke. And my family can attest to this. I started programming myself to not need the things that humans need. My husband can attest to that. He's just over here. Right. Babe, you remember how much I was working when I was building the Boss Architect when we were in Minneapolis?
Yeah, I thought I got a divorce.
What y'all heard my husband say? Said he thought he got a divorce. All right. Because all I would do was work. Um, and I programmed myself literally to not need interaction, to not like it became almost this crazy, like robotic thing where I would come home, make dinner, or order out or whatever, um, and start working on the boss architect. Come home, make dinner, start working on the boss architect. And I remember at one point, there was one point that my oldest daughter, Giselle, at the time, Giselle's probably like 16 or 17. I'll never forget, she had came down into my little area because I didn't have an office in the townhouse. She came down to my little area that I had set up as my workstation. And it was probably like 2 o'clock in the morning. She's like, Mom, you need to go to sleep. You have not slept in days. All right. And, and it took like a child telling this like kind of shock my system and say like, dang, I really have completely checked out of humanity. Right? I'm like operating in a way that is robotic. I'm operating in a way that is like not human. And it was I there were so many things that happened physically, um and like mentally. Like I had never ever suffered with anxiety. Never. Anxiety was not even on my radar. I began suffering with anxiety, right? I had never like, and I used to always like, what is this pit that's always in my stomach? I feel like I'm always sick to my stomach, right? And like those things started happening. I then, when I wanted to go to sleep, I started battling with insomnia. When I wanted to go to sleep, I couldn't. I couldn't turn my brain off, right? And so these were things that happened while I was building, while I was hell bent on building. Because remember, it had already been programmed in my mind. My reward came from working. Every reward I ever wanted to win, it came from working hard. Came from working hard. And then I'm gonna tell y'all this. Y'all know what changed my life. What changed my life. And let me say this before I tell you what changed my life. The boss architect, for the people that are newer here, don't know the story. All of this was happening. One of the biggest projects of my career, one of the biggest projects of my career, new executive, launching all these billion-dollar brands, um, building the boss architect. I grew the boss architect to 6 figures in 3 months. I don't tell that story. I know I talk about 7 figures in 22 months, but it became a 6 figure company in 3 months. So my working once again got me a reward. Once again got me a reward. Now here's where I want to give some behind the scenes, because some of y'all are gonna be like, well, I know my people. So, and I thank you, Kendall, my friend Kendall, my friend and client, for giving me some insight into how to talk to my overachievers out here. It's okay that you did not get to 6 figures in 3 months. I'm going to tell you why I did. There were a lot of variables that play into this. First of all, remember, I told y'all I started my first business when I was 23 years old. Yes? Y'all remember that? Just say yes in the comments if you remember I said that. I started the Boss Architect when I was 33. How many years had I had experience being an entrepreneur? Y'all do the math. Y'all real smart. In between that time of starting the Boss Architect and my first business, I had had 4 other businesses. 4 other businesses. My first job ever as a real job was at the bank. I told y'all that, right? Well, do you know what my role at the bank was? My first job ever was in sales. My first job I ever learned how to do was that I get paid to sell. So I had to learn how to sell from the time I was 18 years old. So let's run down why this all happened. I had 10 years of entrepreneurship under my belt. I had failures and lessons from 4 other businesses. I had been selling since I was 18 years old, right? 15 years worth of selling. And also, I just told y'all I did business strategy for some of the largest companies in the world even before I got to Target. The brands I launched at Target weren't the first brands that I launched. Neither was it the first Fortune 500 company I consulted. So I had years and years and years and years and years and years of experience doing the same thing that I do in my business right now. So when I launched my business, the fight was already fixed. Y'all don't hear me. So whoever just got that light, be like, well, I'm not, my business not doing that. I just so happened to had years of experience aligning to what became the Boss Architect. The Boss Architect was not my first business. Definitely wasn't my first rodeo. The Boss Architect was my breakout business. Now, I know the other gurus on the internet won't tell you all the businesses that they had that failed before or all the things that they went through, all of the prerequisites for their success. But I'm also going to tell you this, the Boss Architect did what it did because I worked inhumanly for it to happen. Some of y'all got mad and hopped off right now. I worked inhumanly for it to happen. Like, real talk, how many of y'all really, like, would you stay up for 6 days straight? I have. When you run up against a roadblock with your technology, do you get frustrated and you give up, or do you keep pushing through until you figure it out? I will figure anything out. I won't give up. And like I said, tonight was going to be me talking about a toxic trait and a trait that helps me be successful. When I lock in on something, it shall be done. It shall be done. And here's the crazy part about it, I don't even need to get a reward from it. My reward is finishing. The reward is finishing. I've created things that I put out. People don't like it. I keep it moving. I created it. My reward was in finishing. And I don't work like that anymore. I still will finish. But here's what I switched up. And here's why. I'm going to tell y'all what changed my life. I'm going to go back to that. There was something that I created. I hope this person is watching. But I'm just going to say there was something that I created in my corporate career. When I tell you, I put so much blood, sweat, and tears into this. And without giving too much away, because this is a proprietary thing, let's just say this required me to go around to multiple stores. So I'm going to tell you where I went across multiple cities. Walmart, West Elm, Anthropologie, Crate and Barrel, IKEA. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I had to go to these 5 stores all across the country. And at every single store, I was going around taking pictures of every item in all of the categories in that store. So think about this, going to IKEA and taking pictures of all of the plates, all of the knives, all of the cups, all of the decor, all of the furniture. I did that. I came back and I did have a team in India put all of it in a database for me. I then did the analysis myself on that database, and I designed a tool to basically analyze all of those products, all of those images, and I created this entire method. It took me months to build this tool, to build this process, do all of this. I thought I was going to get a reward. Do y'all know what happened? I got a little shout out. I got a kudos. Got a pat on the back. There was um, an opportunity that came along for the breakout projects, the innovations that had been created to be presented to the CEO of the company. And I was just waiting on my invite. I'm like, projects in the bag. Like, I had been told that your project is definitely about to be presented. This is something that needs to be taken company wide. Like, I was bigged up. Let me tell y'all what happened. The day before the presentation, nobody said anything to me, but I'm ready because I stay on ready. I'm ready to present. This is what I do. I'm ready to show off. Do y'all know? I saw the clear man that was working on me with my project. Clear. Y'all know what I mean when I say the clear man. The clear man, he wasn't even my boss, Erica. I see him trying to tiptoe past my desk. Y'all not gonna believe this. I gotta show you. I have to act this out. I see this man trying to tiptoe past my desk. Hold on. Let me get this out the thing. He had a project board this big, and he trying to tiptoe past my desk with it like this. Y'all know what was on the project board? My project. It was this big. He trying to tiptoe past. Oh. Oh. Whew. Let me tell y'all something. Now, that clear man walked past with my work and had the audacity to present it. They asked him to present it for me. Now, I take solace and consolation. Our desks were right beside each other. I don't know how he thought he was gonna tiptoe. I take solace in the fact that he could not fully explain my project. Um, so Crystal said it's the audacity for me. And once again, I'm Capricorn. We cry once every 4 years, right? So Capricorns don't cry a lot. I will tell you, I went out to my car and I cried my eyes out. Because I was like, that was one of the first times that I worked so hard. And like, it didn't give me the dopamine hit of being rewarded in any kind of way for it. Right. Tay said that just made me mad. Kendall said, wow. Oh, it happens a lot more than you think. That's not the first time and not the last, right? But I say this, I also, in my business at the Boss Architect, you know, begin inviting hard work into my life. Because once again, I thought that was a mechanism to control. Now, I didn't think I was doing it subconsciously. I did not think that I was invited. Now my sign falling over here. Look, that's the Lord. I hope he got a sign falling over at his house too. Now he know who I'm talking about. Come get at me. Right. Um, I'm shifting a little bit. So let me talk about this. And I know I have a varied audience. So right now I'm speaking to Black women. Black women. And I can do that because I am a Black woman. When I started my business, I did not know I was inviting more work to myself because I too did something when I started my business that a lot of you are doing right now. You know what that is? I started my business saying I want to help people, particularly women of I want to help women like me, but the women that don't have access to the same information I have, I want to help them. I want to help them. I want to help. It's going to be hard to hear. You don't start a business to help, you start a business to make money. I had to learn this the hard way. Business, like the definition of it, y'all need me to go to the Webster's dictionary, right? Oh, y'all got real quiet because I just hit a whole bunch of people. The practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. That, that's the dictionary. The practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. Now, let me go ahead and say something. I try to save enough from like, ooh, some folks got mad with me. Engaging in commerce. I started my business to help people, and helping people made me work harder than I ever had before. First of all, if you're running a business, you can't help people that don't want to be helped. And let me tell you something, you can't help people that can't pay you to be helped. It's business. Do your ministry on your own time. Because at this point, I'm tired. Gloves coming off. I ain't even got nothing else to sip in here. Yes, I do. And I said something today privately inside of my group, and I'm going to say it publicly. And well, hell, some of y'all get mad. I don't care. Some of my other, um, I'm going to say the other women that support me that are not Black women, please don't take this any kind of way. I'm speaking specifically, or as my daddy would say, specifically the Black women. I wanted to help Black women. Um, and I was met with a resounding, we don't want help unless you're going to help us for free. Ooh, it got to be a scam. It got to be a scam. I had somebody call me today. I can't make this up. I said I'm going to say it. I had somebody call me today and said, I am calling because I feel like I purchased something from you. It may have been back in 2019, 2020. And I want you to explain to me how I can build business credit by what I purchased about back in 2019. I think that's when I purchased it. It's the audacity for me. Right. It's the audacity for me. Um, Here's my issue, and here's what I found out real quickly. We don't do that mess to Amy Porterfield. Come on with it. We don't do that mess to Jenna Kutcher. We don't do that mess to Marie Forleo. We don't do that mess to none of these other women that don't look like us. Oh, we just be just as grateful. Right? And I let myself get into the trap of saying, and this is for some of you that need to hear this, no matter how bad people treat me, I still want to help them. No matter how bad people treat me, I still want. You know why? Because I had programmed work to be my coping mechanism. I had programmed work to be my point of control. Now, let me tell you something even more personal, and then I'm going to get off of here because I want you to understand how I realized that work was actually my coping mechanism. I will be honest with a lot of you. And I tell you that when so many of you tell me you can't do something because you are busy, or, oh, Kendra, I can't do something because I'm so overwhelmed, or I can't do something because I'm sad, or I can't do something because I just got a lot going on in my life. I'm gonna share with you something, and I'm not sharing this to emulate for you to emulate me, but I'm sharing this because I'm being very vulnerable tonight, and I'm gonna share you how this opened up my eyes. On January 11th, I turned 40 years old. I did not celebrate my birthday this year, um, so we got to do. I have the 40th do over. On January 11th, I turned 40 years old, and on my 40th birthday, my mom was my birthday present because she came home from the hospital, but under hospice care. For those of you that know me, you know my mom was my best friend, and my mom battled with stage 4 colon cancer for 2 years. I got 2 years to be with her, to be a caregiver. My business never missed a beat. Half the time, y'all didn't even know what I was going, except for the people that were inside of my group. I would still go live from the hospital room. Right? I digress. On January 11th, when my mom came home from the hospital and she was in hospice care, um, I could not sleep at all that night because I was just like, I don't like how she's looking. Like, I need to be there. So on January 12th, I told my husband, I said, I'm gonna be gone for a while. Right. And so Kendall said, no one knew. The business did not show it at all. Right. I told my husband, babe, I'm gone for a while. I don't like how mommy's looking. I'm gonna be there until she gets stable. I packed a bag. I moved back into my old room at home. Right. My parents know. My daddy know to this day. I just walk up in there. Anyway, I got the key. I walk up in their house like I own the place. Well, I'm home, y'all. And I packed my bag and I said I'm gonna be gone for a while. And that day, on January 12th, I was there with my dad all day. My auntie Myra came to visit. Hey, Auntie Myra, if you ever get to watch this, um, we had like sung with my mom, like just had a good day. She was sleeping most of the day. I say all this to say at 4 a.m. in the morning, around 4 a.m. My mom took her last breath in my arms on January 13th. She took her last breath in my arms while I was singing to her and loving on her and kissing on her. And she was laying in my arms, and my dad had her feet propped up on him, and we were just loving on her. And on January 13th, I called the funeral home, made the arrangements. They came and picked her up at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Um, at 11 o'clock, I was back here in this office doing my weekly live training at 11 a.m. on January 13th. Not even a full 7 hours after my mom took her last breath in my arms. On January 15th, I came right back and did my live in my group. I had meetings the next week. Let's not even talk about on January 10th. I'm going to back up one day. On January 10th, the day before my birthday, I was in the hospital. I was hospitalized, had to go to the emergency room. I said I wasn't going to cry tonight. I had to go to the emergency room because they thought I had had a heart attack. And I always tell everybody now that what was happening to me is my heart was breaking because I knew that my mom was not going to be here with us. So I was in the hospital all day on the 10th. 11th, my mom came home. 12th, I'm there all day. She passed on the 13th, and I did a training at 11 a.m. that same day. I sent out an email, and this is how I knew when it was time to shift and like I no longer want to help. Like this is business now. Because y'all know when I learned something, I'm gonna tell you exactly when I learned something. I sent out an email the day after my mom passed. Y'all, some of y'all remember that email, and a lot of y'all sent condolences. The email literally said, I'm gonna paraphrase it. The email literally said, hey, it was a tribute to my mom, just letting you know my mom passed this morning, or yesterday morning. She took her last breath. This is my tribute to her. And here's what's happening in the business, right? We have rescheduled literally everybody that was rescheduled that had like a private session with me. Everybody had been rescheduled for the next week. It wasn't weeks and weeks. It was the next week we rescheduled everybody. I canceled one class that was rescheduled. 1 week. 1 week. And for most of the classes, I kept showing up. Do y'all know what kind of emails I got back from that? Can y'all guess? I just feel like I need a refund because you're not going to be able to give me the type of attention I need in my business, and I need some help right now. And I just feel like I just need a refund for what I done paid. Next one. I feel like you're not going to be able to provide me with the attention I need. So I just feel like I need to not be a part of this program because I don't like that it's these are the emails that I'm getting as I'm planning my mom's funeral. And you know what? I'm not even mad at those people. You know why? Because it gave me a realization then, and this is a part of why I said I'm not in business to help people. Right. Angelia said, I kept wondering why you didn't shut it down until you got through it. Some people are disgusting because my business, the systems were in place to keep my business running. Right. But remember, work is also my coping mechanism. So I would work instead of grieving. I would work instead of grieving. Um, but people were really nasty. Right. I mean, like to the point that it was just like, but what about me? About me. And it's like, what? Like, I can't. We rescheduled your meeting a week. I never took a break. But I also realized that, and I say this with all love, this is where I drew the line. Because here's what I'm going to say. And y'all, please don't be offended when I say this. But I'm gonna say I'm actually gonna blame this on Kendall a little bit, my good friend. I'm gonna blame Kendall. I'm gonna throw you up under the bus because we talked about this a while ago, and I showed her like how people would talk to me and some of their emails, and like I think this was after. Thank you, Tracy. So you already undercharging. You know I won't be undercharging no more. You know, Kendall said this, and I don't know if you guys remember when my email was hacked. Right. Y'all remember that? My email was hacked. It was back in 2022, I want to say. And literally, there was an email that was sent out, and it was basically like, you owe 3,000 USD. I take you court, you not pay, or something stupid like that. It didn't sound nothing like me. Oh, people were in my bitch. Oh, no, you know money. You go to hell. You kill yourself. These are people I've actually worked with. Like telling me to kill myself, telling me all kind of stuff, calling me everything but a child of God. I'm like, why are you so triggered by an email that's clearly a scam? Clearly a scam. All right. And I'll never forget when I talked to Kendall about it. She was like, people behave poorly when they're in a bad shape with money. Think about it. Why else would you get triggered about an email that you owe somebody $3,000 if you don't in fact got folks out here you owe $3,000? Why would you be so triggered by that? If somebody comes talking about I owe them $3,000, I'll be like, no, I don't, because I pay my bills. That don't belong to me. I don't have debtors. And I said, never again will I, Dr. Kim said, I remember that, never again in the sake of helping people will I ever make it feel like it's okay to work with me if you are not okay financially. Nope, don't want it. You know why? I'll give you guys a great example. Do you know when I see like chargebacks and stuff come through? I literally can tell when somebody is going through their bank account and saying, what can I go do a chargeback on so that I can get some money to pay my light bill or so that I can get some money to buy some food? I'm not interested. Right. And yes, a lot of us want to help, but in business, Y'all remember the definition I gave you? The practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. It didn't say the practice of helping people. It didn't say the practice of ministering to people. It said the practice of making one's living by engaging in commerce. I'm going to close this out tonight by saying there are two things I actually want to leave with you. Your lack of time and your lack of energy and your overwhelm, that is a scam. Lack of time, energy, and overwhelm is a scam. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. Right? Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day. You're overwhelmed because you're prioritizing things that don't fill you up. I'm going to go ahead and be very, very clear. You know what fills me up? When I see sales coming through every day for my business. Y'all can do all that other stuff you want to. Be like, I just want to help. I just want to I want to live out my ministry and live my passion. You know, good. You may want to live your passion, but you want some money too. I wish these folks out here on the internet would stop lying. Just say what it. If you are a business owner, that means you want to make money. If you want to live your passion, that just means you want to live your passion. Y'all not ready for that conversation. Anywho, I had to learn how to just not allow myself to get run down. And I had to understand that me prioritizing who I work with, setting my standards really high. My standards are sky high now. Like, I love everybody in here. I have amazing new offers coming this week. Y'all ready for my new offers? Kit offer in here. Y'all ain't ready for what I got lunch and new. And I have something in every price point. Get your wallets ready. You're gonna be buying every single day. I went to the lab for the people that are in my 7-figure empire group. You know, what did I tell y'all? Y'all told me what you needed, and I created it. I created it. So I got a whole bunch of luncheon going on this week. Okay. But here's the new model at the Boss Architect that I had to say, and this is sad for me. You don't get me. You don't get me until you prove that you already did something. You don't get me. For somebody like me that loves to see results, for somebody like me that builds billion-dollar empires, you don't get me until you prove that you have already done something. Where is your business? Where are your sales? Where is your audience? People can no longer come to me, not to me, with an idea. Show me you doing some. Ideas are the most dangerous things on earth. You know how many ideas are laying around in the graveyard? You can no longer come to me with an idea. Come to me when you got a business. Until then, you better take every course I put out there in program, because if I give it to you, believe me, it's the truth. Kendall is privy to our behind the scene conversation. So Kendall knows how hard I work. She was in this same office, what, a couple of weeks ago, while I was plotting out the new version of the Boss Architect. No, I scale businesses. And Dr. Quayle, I'm gonna there's something. let's just say one of the offers is about building out your 4-week offer. That's all I'm gonna say. Dang, Tracy said my weave was sweating on that 3 day. Yeah, I'm not. Thank you, Kendall. Kendall said incredible work ethic. I will still work. People need to know I'm going to. I will finish it for you, but you got to be willing to finish it for yourself. Are you going to work yourself in the ground without it moving you forward? Because that's what some of us are doing. Some of us are letting everybody else work us. Stop doing that. Don't be like me with the clear man coming to take my work. That's what a lot of you are doing. You're letting everybody else dump work on you. And then they take the credit for it. Don't let the clear man come and take your credit. Okay. Well, Kendra, I couldn't do it because see, my kids got this, and my husband got this, and my cousin got this, and my auntie got this, and my granddad got this, and my dog got this, and my cat got this, and my mama got. Stop it. And I shared with you guys about what I went through with my mom so that you can see that I never made an excuse, even when I had every excuse. I never made an excuse, even when I had every excuse. I remember those nights when my mom said I was her. I used to come to the hospital with her when she was at Emory St. Joseph's, which is 40 minutes away from my house, 40 away from my house. And I stayed in the hospital with her for 17 nights. And I would always have on my cute pajamas when I would go because I would always tell her we're having a slumber party. Like, mommy, we're having a slumber party. And I would stay at that hospital. I would get there. I would get off my classes. Y'all know my classes at night run until about 9 p.m. So I would get there around 9 p.m. and I'd stay there around 8, 9 in the morning until my dad got there. And then guess what I would come and do as soon as I got home and took a shower? I would hop on with y'all. I'd be up all night with my mom. Right? I've never made an excuse even when I had every opportunity to. And here's what I'm going to say. Now in my business, I work, but I work a lot smarter. I do not actually believe in hard work anymore. I do not actually believe in overworking myself. I believe that rest is the most beautiful thing that I can give myself. I believe that being present with my family is a beautiful thing. I love those times because I did have the structure and the systems in my business. I got to spend so much time with my mom. I got to be present with my family because I never had to worry about money or I never had to worry about systems. I just had to show up and I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I want to ask you guys something. Two things as we go throughout this week. I'm going to be here almost every day this week chatting with you guys. Tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, mark your calendars. 11 a.m. Eastern, we have an amazing session. We're going to do the strategies in the morning. We're going to have the tough conversations at night. All week, strategy in the morning, tough conversations at night. We're going to talk about the structure. But I will say now that I am in one of the best flows ever in business, I've learned to not work so much. I've learned to take a step back and know that everything's going to be okay, to trust that the systems that I built are working for me. Um, but I can't leave without saying when you are building, you have to work. You got to get the work over with. And somebody needed to hear that because some of you have stopped and started your building. You can't stop the building. You have to build first, and then you can coast. And if I can just have some women on here that are like, Kendra, I'm ready to build what I'm unveiling to you at the end of the week. If you give me 8 weeks, 8 weeks, you will not only have your entire business built, but you will know how to run it like a CEO. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. How y'all feeling? I know this was heavy tonight. It was a lot. But Crystal said, let me stop stopping it. Yeah, stop stopping the building. Stop stopping the building. Keep the building going. Keep the building going. You can't stop the building. The building allows you the space to do all the other things. Stop stopping the building. Ooh, Tracy, you in my message for tomorrow, getting scrappy. Okay. So tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. That's 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, 8 a.m. Pacific. Y'all know I was about to say specific. Okay. Oh, thank you, Posh Tomboy. Quayle said, appreciate your vulnerability. I talked about a lot tonight. Go back and digest this. I will see y'all tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Turn your notifications on. We're diving into some strategy tomorrow morning. And look, little birdie told me that tomorrow y'all need to have them coins ready on early in the morning. You understand me? Because y'all don't want to miss out on this. Let's just say something sexy is coming on tomorrow. Something real sexy. And yes, it's affordable. Okay. Love y'all so much. I will see y'all in the morning. Bye for now.